Bill Gates' advice to the rich. Bill Gates once said that success is a poor teacher. It convinces smart people that they can't lose. And this single line became the foundation of an entire philosophy that separates temporary winners from lifelong achievers. If you pause for a moment and really absorb this thought, you will realize that the biggest trap for a successful person is not failure, it is comfort. Comfort destroys more dreams, more fortunes, and more potential than failure ever will. When Bill Gates speaks about wealth, he is not talking about luxury cars or beach houses. He's talking about the mindset that creates wealth and the mindset that destroys it. He knows that the world is filled with people who made money once and then lost everything because they stopped evolving. So his first advice is simple but brutal. Don't let success freeze your hunger. The moment you start celebrating instead of learning, you stop growing. And the world does not wait for anyone. Technology changes, markets shift, opportunities evolve. Either you adapt or you disappear. Gates says that the rich who survive are not the ones who brag about what they know. They're the ones who stay curious about what they don't know. He reminds every successful person that the true danger of becoming rich is the illusion of certainty. People start believing they are too good to fail. They start believing their way is the only way. They stop listening. They stop observing. And they stop reinventing themselves. Bill often talks about how Microsoft could have died many times if he had not constantly pushed the company to look ahead. He says that being rich doesn't make you special. Being consistent does. Wealth can evaporate, but discipline can't. Power can fade, but habits remain. He warns that wealth gives you options, but discipline gives you direction. Without direction, options become distractions. That is why he insists that no matter how rich you become, you must stay a student, because ego is the most expensive thing a successful person can afford. Ego limits your vision. Ego blinds you from new possibilities. Ego convinces you that you already know enough. And the moment you stop learning, your decline begins. Bill's advice is not sugar-coated. If you are the smartest person in the room, leave the room, because that room will kill your growth. Another major piece of his advice to the rich is about time. Gates believes that rich people don't become poor because they lose money. They become poor because they misuse time. He says that he would rather lose $1 million than an hour because money can be recovered, but time can't. Most people think that once they become rich, their time becomes limitless. They believe they can delay decisions, delay learning, delay growth. But the truth is, the richer you become, the more valuable each hour becomes. Gates explains that the most powerful people on the planet treat time like oxygen, essential, priceless, and limited. He warns that one of the most dangerous habits rich people fall into is wasting time on comfort, gossip, or entertainment. When you treat time casually, life punishes you seriously. That is why he tells successful people to schedule their growth the same way they schedule their vacations. Study your industry. Study the future. Study technology. Study systems. Do not let your days be controlled by leisure. The world rewards urgency, not comfort. Gates also talks about the importance of building things that last. Many people chase fast money, and even if they get it, they lose it just as fast. He insists that the rich must focus on building systems, not moments. Wealth built on hype collapses. Wealth built on discipline compounds. He says that money without purpose becomes poison. It creates arrogance, not impact. Laziness, not progress. He warns that people who only chase profit lose themselves, but people who chase value gain both wealth and legacy. According to Gates, if your wealth does not help others grow, it is incomplete. He believes that the real measure of a rich person is not how much they keep, but how much change they create. A rich person who only consumes will eventually collapse. A rich person who contributes will always rise. Then comes one of his most powerful beliefs. Failure is data. Gates says that average people fear failure because they think it reduces them. Rich people fear failure because it exposes them. But truly exceptional people embrace failure because it instructs them. Failure is not a wall. It is a mirror. It shows you where you are weak, where you are unprepared, where you must evolve. Gates constantly tells achievers not to hide their failures, but to study them, because every failure has a lesson that success cannot teach. He believes that rich people lose everything when they start avoiding discomfort. Comfort kills innovation. Comfort kills hunger. Comfort kills progress. That is why he says, your pain is your teacher. Your struggle is your tuition. Your growth is your return. If you want to stay wealthy, stay uncomfortable. Bill Gates also advises the rich to avoid one of the biggest traps of wealth, the wrong circle. He says that once you become successful, you attract three kinds of people: admirers, opportunists, and haters. Admirers praise you. Opportunists use you. Haters criticize you. None of these people help you grow. That is why Gates says, find people who challenge you. Find people who tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. Find people who push you to improve, not people who clap for your weaknesses. Wealth becomes a curse the moment it surrounds you with yes men. Your circle is either your security or your downfall. Gates warns that if you surround yourself with people who only agree with you, you will never evolve. You will become outdated, outsmarted, and outperformed. The right circle protects your future. The wrong circle destroys it. Another critical piece of his advice is about fear of reinvention. Many rich people cling to the strategy that made them successful. They refuse change because change feels risky. But Gates says the riskiest thing in the world is not changing. The world evolves every second. Technology replaces old ideas. Competition replaces old leaders. Markets replace old champions. If you stay the same, you fall behind. He believes the rich must reinvent themselves every few years. New skills, new perspectives, new strategies. Reinvention is not a luxury. It is survival. He often says the next big thing will always arrive after you think you've already succeeded. And the question is, will you be ready or will you be comfortable? Gates also warns the rich against believing that money makes them wise. Money only makes you visible. It magnifies your habits, your strengths, and your weaknesses. If you're disciplined, wealth multiplies your discipline. If you're careless, wealth multiplies your mistakes. Wealth is a magnifier, not a transformer. Gates says, don't let the money get to your head. Let it get to your work. Use wealth to build systems. Use wealth to buy time. Use wealth to hire talent. Use wealth to accelerate learning. But never use wealth to feel superior, because superiority blinds you for growth. He reminds the rich that arrogance is the fastest way to become poor. He also teaches that rich people must master emotional control. When you are poor, your emotions affect you. When you are rich, your emotions affect your team, your business, your market, your legacy. Anger destroys relationships. Fear destroys opportunities. Impulsiveness destroys investments. He says the richest people are not those who control money. They are those who control themselves. Emotional discipline separates builders from breakers. He emphasizes that wealth must be handled with clarity, calmness, and long-term thinking.